Hi guys, I'm Charmaine and I'm back again for another ASUS product review. Last time we talked about the ASUS Servers gaming headset. Today, we'll be looking into another item from ASUS. Here's the ASUS ROG Pugio. Let's check it out. The ASUS ROG Pugio is truly for left and right-handed users with configurable magnetic side buttons on both flanks, so there's no need for the users to adjust regardless of the left or right-handed type of users. What's cool about the logo is that the mouse has AuroSync RGB lighting feature, meaning it displays nearly endless variation of colors, and it synchronizes effects across an ever-growing portfolio of AuroSync-enabled products of ASUS with AuroSync. It has 6 styles: the static, reading, comet, color cycle, wave, and reactive. You can control this using the ROG Armoury Software. So here's how the ROG Armoury looks like. It automatically detects all peripherals that are marked as ROG. Here's an example. When I plug in the ASUS ROG Pugio, it instantly detects its presence in the system and loads the available configuration and profiles. Let's browse the options one by one. Under the mouse tab, we have 4 sub-tabs. The first one is its button tab. This shows you what buttons and functions are usable in the ASUS Pugio or any ASUS ROG products you've connected. What's awesome about this is that you can change the functions of the products. Let's click the function 6 or DPI switch, which is its default function. The first drop-down allows you to choose what function you want it to be. It can be another mouse function such as scroll up, down, left click, right click, and so on. Meaning, if I save this now instead of the default function of the DPI switch, what the DPI switch button will do depends on what I set here. In this example, a right click. So after saving, whenever I press the DPI switch, it does the right click function. Let's return it back to its default. Not only limited to the mouse function, it can also do keyboard function. Going back to the DPI switch, instead of doing the default function, I may assign any key in the keyboard. So whenever I press the DPI switch, it does type that specific letter. It can also be a keyboard shortcut. So let's try assigning Ctrl V, which is shortcut for paste. As you can see, it pastes a specific text. I copied this by using the DPI switch button instead of the Ctrl V shortcut. You can also make macros or recorded actions. Windows shortcuts predefined or multimedia playback such as volume, change, mute, pause and play, stop and change track. The next sub-tab is the Performance tab. Here, you can define the sensitivity or DPI of the mouse. When the DPI switch LED is on or off, let's try having very low DPI for the LED off. and high DPI for the LED on. As you can see, the performance of the mouse immediately changed. Applying what we set for LED off, which is very low DPI, that the mouse cursor barely moves. After clicking the DPI switch, the mouse sensitivity becomes so high, it goes end to end of the screen with the slightest movement. Angle snapping. At the hardware or driver level, if your movements stay under some arbitrary threshold, the mouse input is slightly altered to keep your line straight. One good example is when aiming to get a headshot with a rifle, or even simply drawing a straight line. So let's open a paint. For the first setting, it's quite challenging to draw a straight line using the mouse alone. But after changing to the second option, it's a lot easier to achieve almost a straight line, or literally straight lines. For polling rate, a higher polling rate can decrease the lag that occurs between when you move your mouse and when the movement shows up on your screen. On the other hand, a higher polling rate will use more CPU resources, as the CPU has to query the mouse for its position more often. You'll usually want a high value, but it may vary depending on your CPU. The mouse acceleration, in the majority of mouse software, refers to the setting allowing the user to modify the cursor acceleration, the change in speed of the cursor over time while the mouse movement is constant. For acceleration and deceleration, when the mouse starts to move, the software will count the numbers of counts received from the mouse and will move the cursor across the screen by the number of pixels or multiplied by a rate factor typically less than 1. The cursor will move slowly on the screen, having a good precision. When the movement of the mouse passes the value set for threshold, the software will start to move the cursor more quickly with a greater rate factor. Usually, the user can set the value of the second rate factor by changing the acceleration settings. Lastly, button response is how long in milliseconds will your mouse respond to actions. This is usually set to very low time. The third sub-tab is the lighting, where you can change the type of lighting that the ROG Pugio will emit as shown earlier in this video. Turn off the sync all areas option, and you can set it to have different color profiles for different parts of the ROG Pugio. Just choose the part you want to modify and choose the effect type and color. And then save it. Here's an example where the logo, scroll wheel, and base have different effects. Last sub-tab is the calibration sub-tab, where you can calibrate your mouse depending on the type of surface or mousepad you are using. Since we're now finished with the mouse tab, let's check the macro tab. Here, you can do different actions and record it for further use. Remember the macro option under the button sub-tab? You can record one here. Let's record typing several strokes and record it to the DPI switch. See, in one DPI switch click, I was able to do a different recorded function thanks to the macro tab. The Sync tab is used when other ROG AutoSync enabled products like ROG Pugio are connected. This is where a single setting can be applied across all other ROG AutoSync products. The last tab, or the Stats tab, is where you can record performance of the ROG Pugio in terms of the left click, right click, and distance, where it is converted to actions per minute. This mouse is capable of 50 million click Omron switches, guaranteed to last and comes with exclusive push-fit switch sock design, so that you can replace your own mouse switch. There's no need to buy another mouse if the clicker got broken, or you feel like changing the variation of its resistance. First, unplug the mouse from your PC or laptop. Next, flip it so that the bottom part is facing you. Then, get a very tiny flat screwdriver and pluck the 4 circular foam or covers from the bottom of the mouse and see the screws. Next, get a small crosshead screwdriver and unscrew the 4 screws. Remove the small screws, but make sure that you don't lose them. The same with the circular foams. Third, flip it back so that the mouse wheel is facing upward, facing you. Then from the side of the mouse clicker, push inward from the side of the ROG logo. Push upward until the cover is removed. You may replace the switch of your mouse clicker by simply pulling it upward and gently push down the new part you will place. Place back the cover. Start by sliding the side of the mouse clicker and gently push down on the side of the ROG logo of the cover. Place and screw back the 4 screws and insert again the 4 circular foams. Test it and make sure that everything is working as expected. The cable has a specialized soft rubber coating that reduces cable friction and snagging. The cable attachment point is also angled for minimal dragging. Moving your mouse across the game's map is critical. That's why Pugio got their box. With 7200 dpi optical sensor and 150 IPS max speed, you'll definitely get a lot of commands and wins. With all that said, you can never go wrong with choosing the ASUS ROG Pugio gaming mouse for jungling, pushing your lane, ganking, or all mid clash. Again, thank you everyone for watching my videos and stay tuned to my channel for more ASUS product reviews. Have a great day!